Today I will be showing you 35 Dollar Tree Christmas DIYs from last year. I hope you enjoy.
I'm gonna be myself, or I could be someone else. No one's stopping me now.
Start off with 3 of these blocks from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to take my antique wax and give them one good coat. It is coming off a little bit dark, but what you can do is add a little bit of water, which I usually do, but I didn't this time because I knew I was going to sand it down. They're dry. What I'm going to do is spell out joy. So I just pulled it up on my phone and just freehanded it with the pencil, and then I will paint it in with some white chalk paint. You can use whatever paint you want. Apple barrel paints work really good too. I like to get the matte ones from Walmart. There's so many options. You can leave it blank. You can put different wording on here. It's totally up to you. This is the chalk paint I'm going to be using. The good thing about the Waverly paints is that the paint is so thick. That's why you only, normally most of the time you only need one coat. So that's what I did. I just did one coat because remember I'm going to be sanding it down. So I just have some gloves right here, and I'm going to paint in the letters that spell out joy. Dollar Tree has different packs of paintbrushes. Even if you don't have the crafter square, they do have a pack of like real skinny brushes like this. This one is specifically from Dollar Tree. It came with like 4 or 5 different little brushes. That way you can be more precise if you do make something like this. Before sanding them down, I'm showing the little miniature Christmas trees from Dollar Tree. I'm going to use 3 of them on the top of the blocks. So this is how the J came out, and now I'm just going to sand it down. I will also be sanding down the front of it. So that's why I wasn't so OCD about doing the letters perfectly, because I wanted it to look rustic. This is how they look once they're all sanded down. Now I'm going to go ahead and hot glue the little miniature Christmas trees on top. Base filler as ornaments on the little Christmas trees. I'm only going to use the red ones. They had different colors at Dollar Tree, but I wanted to use red because I really like using the traditional colors. So I'm just going to hot glue them all over the little trees. Anybody can make this DIY no matter what style you're going for Christmas. If you want more of glam, you can change the little ornaments on there. If you like more traditional colors, you can change the paint color on the blocks. Dollar Tree chalkboard signs. It's outlined in wood. So you guessed it right. I'm going to use my wax to stain the wood area on the outside of the chalkboard. Right here I have a cup of water. I'm going to just be dipping it because I really like the lighter look of the wax. I'm using a paper towel to wipe off the excess amount of wax that's on here. And as you can see, when I did that, it just gives it that really pretty color. I used my Cricut to cut out some words that say sleigh bells ring. So I'm going to add each word onto each sign. There are a bunch of options you can do. You can use actual chalk to write something that you want on here. There are stencils you can use with paint. And there are lots of sticker letters at Dollar Tree and also rub-on transfers.
be like we never were.
Alright, I am taking the rest of that buffalo check ribbon and combining it with this creamy beige ribbon that I bought last year at, I believe, Hobby Lobby. I'm just cutting off the little wire that is on the ends of this ribbon. They're both wired ribbon. I'm going to combine both of them. I'm going to lay one on top of the other, and I'm going to go about arm's length and fold it. Once I do that, I'll just keep folding it until I am at the end of the ribbon. Then I'm going to fold this in half just to give me a crease of where the middle is at. Once I do that, I'm going to take my scissors and cut on each side, not all the way through. You're going to leave about ½ inch connected in the center, and that's just going to help us tie off the middle, and then we're going to separate all of the loops, and you'll see what I'm talking about in a second. We're going to tie off in the center like I do all of my bows, and then we'll cut off the excess. It's real simple now. We're just going to form the loops, and then I have about 4 tails, and I'll do the same thing I did earlier and just fold it in half and cut at a diagonal to give it a V-shaped end.
Shepherds, why this jubilee? Why your joyous strains prolong? What the gladsome tidings be, which inspire your...
So the bow is going to go at the top. I am going to take this ribbon. You can take any kind of ribbon you want. This is ribbon from last year as well, and I think it was from Hobby Lobby. So I'm going to just tie it around the center of the bow, create a knot, and then once I do that, I will connect all 3 signs to the ribbon. I took some pieces of wood. You can use crab sticks, and just for a better and more secure hold, I'm adding it on top of the ribbon and back of the signs. As you can see at the bottom of the last sign, I left a little tail of that ribbon and just cut the bottom of that in a V cut. If the little holes in the signs bother you, you can always use twine in there to hang them like how they were when I bought them, or you can add more bows or ribbon. You know, it's up to you. It didn't really bug me, but if it does, you can cover it. I have some foam balls from Dollar Tree. I only ended up using 2 of them and some white poinsettias. I want to make a poinsettia door hanger. To do this, all I had to do was just pull each flower off, and then you just stick it into the foam balls. Now, I suggest adding hot glue to each one. So once you stick it where you want it to go, then you pick it back up and add hot glue in the hole, and then you can put your flower back. Now I'm gonna add my red in there because I love traditional red Christmas decor. So I have some Dollar Tree red berries I'm gonna add, and depending on your theme, you can do different color poinsettias or different flowers. You can do greenery, even different colored berries.
Yes, I'm coming home to Christmas lights are all around. I can see them now. It's like they spell your name. It's insane. Now we're back here.
So to hang this, I am using some red glittery ribbon. They do have some at Dollar Tree. So what I decided to do was poke a big hole with the end of the stem, and then I'm just going to add hot glue inside of that hole, and then I'm going to stick the end of the ribbon right there, and I'm going to push it back down with that stem. So I'm going to do the same thing to the other end of the ribbon and place that end in the other foam ball. I love this one. It looks way more expensive than what it was to make. So as you can see, I did hang it on some hooks, so this would look great not just on a door, but also on some farmhouse hooks in your kitchen or in your living room, anywhere. I am making a very simple wreath for this third DIY. I have a green wreath form from Dollar Tree, and I have this ribbon that I have been using since last year. It was from Walmart. Now, my original plan was to pick up I believe they're the mop covers at Dollar Tree, which looks like white and fluffy. And I really wanted to do that, guys, but I could not find any. So if you are in luck and you can find it, I think it would look so nice if you're able to make a wreath out of that and just glue it on here. I'm using this Dollar Tree ribbon to make a bow to add to the wreath. So this is how I start off with it. I bring the top down, and then I'm going to pinch the center together, and then you can use any type of string you have, but of course I always tell y'all the easiest thing to use is a pipe cleaner. Once I tie a knot, then I just cut off the excess. So you can leave it like that, but what I'm going to do, which I don't think I've showed y'all this in a really long time, to add to that bow in the center to cover up the twine, I'm going to make a knot. And then once I do that, I'll just cut the excess off and just leaving a little bit at the top and the bottom. And then I will glue the knot right on top of the twine in the center. And then the pieces that are hanging on the top and bottom, you just wrap it in the back and add more hot glue. I'm adding a dovetail to the end of the ribbon by just folding it in half and then cutting it at a diagonal. So just to spruce up the wreath a little bit more, I'm adding some Hobby Lobby greenery that I have. I'm just cutting off the bottom of the stems, and I'm going to glue it right here in the center. And then I'm also going to add some Dollar Tree bells that I will show y'all in a second. I have some Dollar Tree silver bells. They come in a 9-pack. So I have 2 of them that I'm going to add right here. I have them on some string already. I'm just going to hot glue them underneath the greenery. Some recycled little wooden drawers that you get at Dollar Tree. So as you can see, I have used these before. I am going to place them just like this to make it look like a Christmas tree. First, I am going to paint all of it with my Waverly white chalk paint. Dollar Tree red ornaments. I'm just adding the little string that it comes with so you can hang it on the box. So just tie a knot. And then when you place it in the box, the string will go at the top and I will add hot glue. Alright, I am going to make a garland with some red and silver Dollar Tree bells. So I have this ribbon that I'm going to lay out, and then I already have another piece of ribbon, and you can change it up if you want to use a different colored string. That would be nice too. So I'm just tying a knot, and then I'm going to tie another knot but around the ribbon. So I'm going to do that for each bell, going in a red and silver pattern. I like that this one was so simple, and you can add this anywhere for a Christmas touch.
Angels we have heard on high, sweetly singing o'er the plains, and the mountains in reply.
Decor piece with this old canvas from Dollar Tree that I've been having for a while. So I'm going to go ahead and paint it white. Now I wanted to do the same thing as I mentioned earlier for the wreath. I wanted to add that mop. Honestly, I don't know what it's called. I don't know if it's the mop for a mop head or a mop pad. But it's that white fluffy one that a lot of people are using for Christmas. So I wanted to do that with this and cover it, but again, I couldn't find it, so I'm just going to paint it. You can use any ribbon for this next part. I just have some Dollar Tree ribbon. I'm going to add a piece right here, and then I'm going to turn it and add another piece just to make it look like a real Christmas present. And lastly for this, I'm just gonna add a red and silver bell and greenery in the center.
See him in a mango lake, whom the choirs of angels praise.
Sorry about the lighting right here. There's going to be a little bit of a shadow because of the cabinets at the top. But everything that you see right here is from Dollar Tree. I bought the marshmallows, these little chocolate wafers, the hot chocolate, and the 3 canisters or jars from there. Have you ever tried these little chocolate wafers? My kids are obsessed with them. They have them, I think, like at Walgreens and Walmart too, because I know I've seen them in a bigger like container. But anyways, if you haven't tried them, do so. They're only $1, which is a steal. So I want to make the jars a little more festive. What I'm going to do is just take some red paint and paint the top of the lids red. I'm going to go ahead and do 2 coats. Now, if you have spray paint, that would definitely be a better way to paint this. And spell out hot cocoa bar on each of them. I'm also going to be using my chalk marker, and this is also from Dollar Tree.
It's cold outside, but the fire keeps us warm. We can spend the night.
And if you mess up like I did, or I always do, you know, we all mess up, you can just easily take this off with a wet towel. So this is kind of like a creamy marker, so it's real easy to wipe off. Then I'm gonna take some red ribbon that I have, loop it through the hole, and then just tie a knot.
And the storm is on its way, but as long as you're around, everything will be okay. 'Cause all I wanna do is spend this holiday with you. Tomorrow it is Christmas.
And then at the ends of the ribbon, I just folded them in half and cut at a diagonal to create that dove's tail. This Scotch wall mount tape is one of my favorite things to use for lightweight items. So it's double-sided. I'm just going to stick it on to the back, and then I can remove the back side of the double-sided tape and then stick it wherever I want. So I'm going to put on the backsplash.
Difference this time is that ever since July, I've been happier than I have ever been. It's safe
Out of this Dollar Tree sign. The only thing is I don't need that top area, so I'm going to go ahead and remove that with my scissors. Since this is from Dollar Tree, the wood is real easy to cut. And there are many signs that come like this without that you can purchase from Dollar Tree. So I had this already, that's why I'm going to use it. Now, I got this idea from One Wooded Lane off of Etsy. She sells these items. When I saw it, I could not believe how cute it was, and I knew I had to figure out a way to make it out of Dollar Tree items. Go visit her on Etsy and check out her really cool decor. I want my mug to be red, so I'm going to paint the front and sides red.
Up this morning, I looked outside my window where children lighting up the Christmas tree, and the snow is falling. It reminds me of the good times, those winters we would spend.
So it looks like there's chocolate inside. I'm going to use my antique wax for the top, and you can definitely use brown paint for this part. And I'm also going to be painting with my white chalk paint some wooden cubes. These are from Dollar Tree. I'm going to take 3 of them, and these are going to be put on top to make it look like they're marshmallows. So I'm just going to paint them white, and then we'll glue them on top of it. Go ahead and sand down the little wooden mug. The little part at the bottom right corner is bugging me so bad, but after this part, I do end up kind of going over that a little bit with more of the red paint. And then I'm going to add some snowflakes on the front, and I'll show you that in a little bit, and it'll kind of cover that. So now, as you can see, I'm just going to hot glue the little faux marshmallows on top. I'm going to use the little handle from this Dollar Tree bucket to act as the handle for this mug. So these come in a 2-pack, and they're always in the wedding section at Dollar Tree. So I do glue it right here at first, but then after the clip, I go ahead and actually glue it onto the back. These snowflakes on this cling sheet right here to add to the front of the mug. So all I'm doing is adding a little dot of hot glue in the center and putting them onto the mug. Peppermint candies on the front of the jars from the hot cocoa cling sheet. Back and forth from like the jars back to the mug, because I get an idea and then I go back to it and add it. So like for this one, I have this little mini 25 candy cane pack from Dollar Tree, and I decided to take one of them. I'm going to break off the curved area, and then I'm going to stick it in the back of the marshmallows so it'll look like it's a straw. They have these really cute little gingerbread men on here. So I'm going to cut out the front one, and I'm going to stick it into the red Dollar Tree mug. So I cut out a couple of them, and what I'm going to do is place some floral foam inside of the mug. I'm going to hot glue a dowel onto each of the gingerbread men, and then I'm going to stick it into this mug. One of them is going to go in this one, and then the other one I'm going to stick it in a different mug. And I'm going to surround the gingerbread man with these sticky marshmallows from Dollar Tree that I used earlier, and also with a few candy canes. I went back to my jars again one last time to add this Dollar Tree baker's twine. Now this twine comes in a 3-pack with different colors, and thankfully I did have some of this left because I did try to look for some today and I couldn't find any. So I had a little bit left just to add a little stripe of it, and right there at the end I'm just going to use hot glue. Dollar Tree star, and as you can see, it is super glittery. I do not want any part of this glitter for my rustic DIYs today. So I'm going to take some Dollar Tree twine, and I'm going to start by wrapping it at the end of one of the corners, just really easily. I'm going to add a dab of glue, place the twine right there at the end, let it kind of dry, and then I'll start wrapping it. And I'm just going to randomly add hot glue wherever I think I need to add some, just so the twine stays in place. I'm going to add more hot glue on the back and start wrapping the next corner. Once I have all the corners wrapped, now I need to fill in the center with the twine. So I'm just going to add more hot glue and slowly start to fill in the center. So once I get in the center, I'll just cut off the excess and then finish the rest. Now I want to add contrast to my star, so I picked up this creamy yarn and I want to outline the star with it. This was super cheap. I bought it from Walmart for not even $2. I believe it was like $1.77, and it comes with quite a bit. I'm just going to add hot glue and outline the whole star. The star, I decided to add a little bit more detail with the yarn in the middle of the star.
I looked outside my window where children lighting up the Christmas tree, and the snow is falling. It reminds me of
what I'm going to do is connect the star to this piece of shim. I bought a pack of these a long time ago from Home Depot. They came with more than like 30 pieces. They had them around the checkout area for not even $5. I'm just going to sand it down real quick, and then I'm going to use my white chalk paint, and I am going to add a little bit of water to my brush. I like to do that because my white chalk paint is really thick. I like it when my brush is wet because it also doesn't waste that much chalk paint either. But if you don't have a piece of wood like this, you can use a ruler from Dollar Tree or a wooden dowel, whatever you have on hand. So to give the shim a rustic look, I'm taking a bristled brush and some of my wax, Waverly wax. If you don't have it, again, I always tell y'all can use brown paint, or recently a viewer told me you can use some shoe polish from Dollar Tree. And I'm just going to add it to the ends like I'm doing right here. And then I kind of do go over it a little bit in the center as well. Tiny little blocks from Dollar Tree, they have these in a pack there. And I went ahead and painted them and added some wax to those. I'm going to glue all of this together. Once I glue the shim to the star, then I'm going to add these blocks to the bottom so it can stand up straight. So I had this idea to make these cute little Christmas trees with some wooden dowels and beads. So I have this wooden dowel. I bought a pack from Walmart because I already ran out of my Dollar Tree ones. But again, Dollar Tree does sell the wooden dowels. So I'm going to cut 4 1.5-inch pieces of the second wooden dowel, and I'm going to hot glue them onto the other dowel. Now I'm going to hot glue them on here, and you can go however far down you want. This is going to be the bottom of my tree. Okay, now we're going to use my Waverly wax to paint this whole thing. Again, I like to water it down so the wax is not so dark, but you can do it however dark you want. I'm going to use these Dollar Tree red necklaces for this next part. This is going to go on the wooden dowels to create that Christmas tree look. Now, I was thinking of doing this or the wooden beads. I wanted to show y'all both ways, but I decided not to show you the other way just because it took me like 3 days to do this video. But what I'm gonna do is just go over it a little bit with some of my wax just so it's not super bright red. So to glue this on, I'm gonna start off at one of these small dowels and add a dab of hot glue. I'm gonna go ahead and add another dab of glue on top, and I'm gonna take the end of the necklace and add it right there to the small dowel and then connect it to the top and then go all the way around to the other side. Now I'm going to go on the opposite side and add more beads. You can leave it just like this for a specific look, but I wanted a more 3D look, so I'm adding it to the other dowels too. I'm cutting the dowel down to the size that I want, and then I also took another one of those small little wooden blocks from Dollar Tree. I already stained it, and I did use my drill bit to drill a hole about halfway down. That way I can hot glue the tree on there. And the last thing I did was make a simple little bow with that creamy yarn that I showed y'all in the last DIY, and I'm gonna hot glue it to the top of the tree. A wooden Christmas tree out of these Dollar Tree canvases. I got 6 right here, and I'm just going to remove everything including the canvas, so I'm just left with the wooden frames. Antique parchment apple barrel paint. These are 50 cents and I like to use the matte ones. I'm going to paint all of the frames with these, and I decided to do this more creamy color rather than a white because I really like the look of this paint. Christmas tree, I'm going to set it up like this with 3 at the bottom, 2 in the middle, and 1 at the top. And then I'm going to hot glue all of the frames together. Every time I glue frames together, is add craft stick, so that way there's a more secured hold. All of those glued down. You can also paint the back as well, that way it doesn't look unfinished. And now I'm going to take my Waverly wax and start painting the edges and the sides the same way I did the star in the first DIY, just to give it that more rustic look. Little wreaths to go inside of each frame. I'm going to hang them from each one. And what I used was an old Dollar Tree Christmas tree I had. I just cut off the branches and made wreaths with them. Now what I'm going to do is take more of those beads, the red ones from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to wrap them around each of the wreaths. And what I did to hold them in place is use some Dollar Tree floral wire. Some green twine from Dollar Tree. This came in a 2 or 3 pack from there, and I'm going to wrap them around the wreath and onto the frames. So the last thing I did was take one of these ornaments and I'm going to add it to the top of the frame. I have done this lots and lots of times and it is super easy, but I thought I'd show y'all anyways because they have some really pretty gift boxes at Dollar Tree. I thought these were so pretty. So what I wanted to do was make a sign. I have some really pretty like vintage like Santa gift boxes right here that I really like. And I think I'm gonna go ahead and make signs out of all three of them, but I'm gonna show you how easy it is. And this is 100% Dollar Tree. I'm gonna use some craft sticks from there. This is how I cut the craft sticks down to fit. Well, it doesn't completely fit it because I'm gonna cut the gift box down a little, but this is how I cut them down and they're super easy to cut. The Dollar Tree ones almost cut like paper. Now I'm gonna stain them with my Waverly wax and then we'll glue them onto the gift box. Piece right there. And to finish the look or to finish up the sign, if you don't want to leave the back showing like the cardboard of the gift box, I'm going to take the white bottom part of the gift box that came in that pack and I'm just going to glue it to the back. A sign out of this Dollar Tree Farm Fresh Christmas Trees bag. I'm also going to be using this stake as well from Dollar Tree. There are many signs there that come with this, and this is just an old one from a fall decor sign. All I'm going to do is cut out the front of the bag, and then I'm going to cut it into 3 sections to make it look like 3 signs. Cause I missed you, so I'm letting go of everything but you. So once everything is cut, I'm gonna paint the stake black. And then I have an old arrow from another Dollar Tree sign that I just removed. I'm gonna paint that one red. If you don't have one, you can just use an arrow from Dollar Tree. They sell them there as well. What I went ahead and did was add a little bit of black to my red paint because I didn't want the red to be super bright. I'm going to use a Dollar Tree round foam ball on top of the sign. I'm going to go ahead and paint this gold with my spray paint. So once all that was dry, I just sanded it down a little bit with some sandpaper. Place all of this on here the way I want, and then I'm going to hot glue it down. Push the foam ball on the top of the sign. Once I do that, I'm going to remove it and then add hot glue and then stick it back on there to place the sign into. So I'm using one of these little wooden drawers from Dollar Tree, and I have used this before for a different DIY. So now I'm just going to stain it with some of my wax from Waverly. What I'm going to do is just add some Spanish moss inside of there, and I did glue down the floral foam. I'm going to stick the sign in there and then just add some of that moss. So for my next DIY, I'm going to make over this Dollar Tree reindeer. The first thing I'm going to do is sand off all of this glitter. There's a lot of it, so I'm going to take it outside and use my sander. So now that that's all sanded off, I'm going to go ahead and paint it with my white Waverly chalk paint. what I want to do is make it look like it's wood. So once I do that, then I'm going to use my Waverly wax. I'm not going to be using this Dollar Tree sign anymore, so what I'm going to do is remove the joy part of it and I'm going to glue it onto the reindeer. So the last thing I'm going to do is add this little Walmart bow to it. This came in like a 4 or 6 pack from Walmart, and I'm just going to use it right there at the neck. I love the way the reindeer looks, especially because it looks like it's real wood, and we did that just by using the wax from Waverly. If you don't have the wax, because I know some people cannot find that, you can use paint. Brown paint works well too. You can just water it down a little if you have to. I'm going to be using these Dollar Tree items that you see right here. I have these really old school vintage window clings from there. I also have these plastic Dollar Tree plates. I have 3 of them. Okay, so I'm going to use these plastic plates because the clings stick to it really well. I'm not going to use any glue or anything to stick it on here. So I just picked 3 and then I'm going to stick them right in the center. I'm going to use my wax on some wooden beads to connect the 3 plates. Next, I'm going to use this baker's twine from Dollar Tree. It comes in a 3-pack with different colors. And all I'm going to do is run 2 beads through there. Once I do that, I'm going to use my hot glue gun and attach them to the plate. So I do only end up using 4 of the beads instead of 6. So once I had both of the beads in between those plates, I'm placing this at the top so I can hang it up. So all I did was grab more of that baker's twine and I just tied a knot and I made that little loop. That way I can hang it on some hooks. These are the items I am using to start off with. I have a large paint stick from Home Depot. These come in a 3-pack for $1. And then I also have a pack of giant craft sticks from Walmart. So with these items, what I want to do is make a Christmas tree out of it. So I'm going to place them this way and they're going to be 7 rows just like this. First, I'm going to figure out how I'm going to place them on here. I will start cutting them down with my scissors and then I will let you know the exact sizes of the craft sticks. Alright, so this is how it looks once everything is cut. Now I'm going to write it down starting from the top layer. I already have it written down in front of me since this is a voiceover. Starting at the top in inches, the first layer is 3.5 inches. The second one is 4.5 inches. The third one is 6 inches. The 4th and 5th row are 6.5 inches. The 6th row is 7.5. And then the last one is 5 inches. Alright, we're going to make this look a little rustic looking. So I'm going to start off by painting all of the craft sticks plus the huge paint stick with my white paint. So wax with a wet brush. I'm going to leave the top layer white. The second layer, I'm going to lightly go over it with the wax. So, and then once I do that, I'm going to wipe it with a towel. Assemble all of it on here with my hot glue. So I'm going to use this Dollar Tree red bow at the top. I believe these come in a 2-pack. I don't like that the tails are really long covering the top of the tree. So I'm going to cut them down a little and then I will glue them back on so that they look shorter. So I grabbed one of these little Dollar Tree containers and I'm going to use that as the base for my Christmas tree. So what I'm going to do is just open that up, remove the lid, and then I'm going to add some floral foam inside of there to stick the tree into. I'm also going to add a little bit of weight and just add some random little rocks in there that I have been having for a while from Dollar Tree. And lastly, I'm going to add Dollar Tree Spanish moss all at the bottom. I make some little paper Christmas trees and I have a few cut out already right here. It's real simple. All I did was grab a piece of paper and fold it in half, and I just freehanded a little tree right at the corner of the paper, and then I'm going to cut it out and so it's even on both sides of the paper. I have 4 little templates cut out, and what I'm going to do is now use some scrapbook paper that I have and also some craft paper from Dollar Tree. These little paper trees are going to be more like 3D Christmas trees because I'm going to use about 4 of these paper trees. So I'm going to do the same thing I showed you right now, but just with the scrapbook paper. And I'm going to do this with the other scrapbook paper and with the craft paper from Dollar Tree. So I'm just going to show you this with this one because it's just repetitive. So for each tree, I cut out 4 of these. So there's 4 paper trees and I'm going to make 1 out of those 4. So now I'm going to do the exact same thing with the craft paper. 3 trees ready to make. What I'm going to do is use a dowel for each one, and I'm also using those little wood rounds, and those are from Dollar Tree as well. They come in a huge pack. I believe like 10 of them maybe for $1. So first, I'm going to show you how I glue the paper trees onto the dowels. So they're going to be 4 trees in total. Now I have the other 3 set off to the side. What I'm going to do to this one is use this clear ornament from Dollar Tree and one of the round foam balls from there. I stuck the Christmas tree in there as you can see, but I forgot I did need to hot glue the foam ball down in there. That way it wouldn't move around. Also, what I'm going to do after this is add the mini little foam balls to make it look like snow inside of this ornament. But I should have done that first before adding the hot glue because I made like a really huge mess, but I still was able to put it in there. I'm gonna add the little dowels inside of these wood rounds. So I just grabbed my drill and I'm gonna drill a hole right in the center and then stick the dowel in there. Alright, so here are the little 3D paper Christmas trees. I made 4 of them. You can make as many as you want in different sizes. And all I did was wrap some more of that baker's twine around the little snow ornament where the tree is sitting in. And that was it for this DIY. Pizza pan, and these items right here are from Dollar Tree. I'm gonna make a sign, a unique sign out of this. So I also have these window clings from there. I absolutely love the vintage ones, but I picked up a few, before they run out. First, I'm gonna use the Merry Christmas cling right in the center. And I'm doing it directly onto the pizza pan because clings stick well to things like this and also like on glass and plastic. I'm also adding the little greenery with berries. It's a chance to start over new, 'cause I missed you, so I'm letting go of everything but you. These are the good times. I'm going to be adding this piece of scrap paper from Michael's. You could also pick up some wrapping paper from Dollar Tree. They have a lot out right now, so I suggest picking some up now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to trace it like this because I'm going to place the scrap paper on top and underneath the little cleans that I have in the center. So I'm just trying to get an idea by tracing this part like that. And then since it's a little bit smaller than this, I'm going to go in about 1/4 of an inch and then I'll cut it. Now I have both of them cut out. I'm going to go ahead and glue them, like I said, one underneath and one at the top. I did start off by gluing it with my hot glue gun, but it didn't work too well. So what I ended up doing was using a glue stick, and it stuck way better that way. Is add a border with these Dollar Tree beads, but first I'm going to spray paint them with my chalk paint. Once they were dry, I'm going to go ahead and use a good amount of hot glue on here because it does dry pretty quick when you add it to the pizza tray. And I'm going to add a double border with the beads. With these next 2 Dollar Tree items, I am going to make a sign out of this gift bag and frame. And of course, this is something really simple, but I really like the way this gift bag looked. I'm turning it on the opposite side because the other side, the Merry Christmas part of this, is not glittered. So I want to use that side. And real simple, all I'm going to do is cut this part out. So that it fits pretty good inside of the frame. I'm using the glass part of the frame, and I'm gonna place it in the center, trace it, and then cut it out. And that is it for this DIY. Just place it inside of the frame. I'm gonna make make a Christmas tree out of these pieces of wood. So these first two that I'm holding up are some shims from Home Depot. I bought them a long time ago. That's how long they've lasted me. I believe it was like over 30 pieces of wood by the checkout area for only like $5. So I have those two pieces, and then the bottom piece is actually a paint stick from Home Depot. Y'all know they sell those for 3 for $1. So that's just a scrap piece that I have. So I'm gonna glue it like this with just my hot glue gun first, and then I'm gonna paint it white. I'm adding hot glue right here at the top, but I also turn it over and add it underneath so there's glue on both sides. I'm using my white chalk paint and I'm watering it down by just dipping my paintbrush in water. So you don't have to use chalk paint if you're going to do this. You can use whatever white paint you want since we're doing a whitewash. Now to vamp up this tree, I'm going to use these Dollar Tree ornaments. So you see I have 2 white deer ornaments. And then I have this Christmas tree. The little trees come in a 2-pack. And then this star that I'm adding to the top of it also comes with 2. You can definitely leave it just like this, but I want to brighten it up with these Dollar Tree LED lights. So I'm going to set the battery pack in the back, and I'm just going to wrap it around the tree. Four white Dollar Tree frames, and as you can see they are all 8 by 10 frames. After I remove everything, I am also removing the little pieces of hardware so you won't be able to see it, because you will see it through the glass if I use those to keep the glass in place. And now I'm going to use my hot glue to keep the glass in place. I know a lot of you have seen window panes being made out of picture frames, so that's why I'm going to speed through this real quick, but I'm still going to show you. It's super simple. After we do this part, then we're going to just glue the 4 frames together. I'm using 8 by 10 frames. This window pane is pretty big, so just using the hot glue on the frames, it's not that good of a hold. It'll be wobbly. So for a better hold, just add popsicle sticks right here and it will be a way better hold. Now the last thing I'm going to do to give it a real festive Christmas look is add these window clings that I showed you earlier. I'm going to use the vintage ones, and yeah, that's pretty much it. You can add more stuff if you want. Like I was thinking of adding a bow to the top, but I just wanted to keep it simple. I think the window clings give it a really nice Christmas look, so I'm just gonna leave it like that. I'm going to be using this Dollar Tree fall sign, and I'm going to make some cute little presents out of these. I am going to remove everything, and then I'm going to take my ruler and mark the sides off. That way I can cut them off with my scissors. Now, it's not really necessary because I'm going to cover these up anyways. You can use whatever you have on hand. I'm just using these because this is what I had. This is just basically a hard background for my little presents. So I'm going to do this to all 3 signs and then lightly sand them. So for the presents, I decided to use these Dollar Tree gift boxes. I picked up a couple because I saw they had different little designs to them, and I thought it would be such a good idea to use these for my presents. I picked my 3 favorite ones, and as you can see, I decided to use 2 with Christmas wording and then 1 solid one with white snowflakes. I am going to hot glue the signs to the back, and like I said, you don't have to do this part, but I just wanted to give the little presents a hard background. You can just use the cardboard by itself, but I don't know if it'll last you too long, maybe just this Christmas season. Totally up to you. At the top of these presents, you can use any size that you want. I'm going to cut them down and then paint them with this antique wax. I think it looks really cute like this. All I'm going to do is sand down my wood just a little bit to kind of lighten it up. And just imagine if you have a different style, you can paint the border a different color, maybe white or red or green. This is how I'm going to have them set up. I'm actually going to connect them with this red, or more of a dark red ribbon color. I got it from Walmart for only about $2.50. The previous fall sign that I used for these presents, that gave me the idea to kind of do it the same way. So I'm going to connect a piece of ribbon, 2 on each side. Of course, it doesn't have to be perfect, but I measured about 1.5 inches of the ribbon showing. And for a little more security, I'm adding some craft sticks to the back. Grab a red and gold bell from this pack of bells from Dollar Tree. I'm going to add them to my bow. I'm adding a knot first to the bells, a little bit of hot glue in the center of the bow, and then I'll place the bells right on top of that, turn it around, and add a couple more knots on the back. Our favorite movies on TV. We can do what we want to do. Walk under the moonlight and kiss under the stars. It's gonna be like Alright, so for the next DIY, I'm going to make a wooden star out of some Dollar Tree skewers. So I have this really long skewer. They come in a big pack at Dollar Tree, and look how long they are, guys. This is 32 inches long. So what I'm going to do is just cut it in the center at 16 inches. It's going to be a little bit different. It kind of reminds me of a tree topper once we're done. So you'll see that in a second. What I'm going to do is just cut this one in the center, and I'm going to hot glue it onto the one that's laying there. Those 2 glued together. I'm going to take 2 more at about 8¼ inch or 8½. I don't normally measure when I do things like this because I'm not so into it being perfect, but I'm doing it in case you guys want to make it and you want to kind of get the same sizing as me. So I'm gluing that one down right in the center. And the last one I'm going to cut in the center and glue it to the opposite sides. And not to worry, we are going to add twine around this in the center because the hot glue won't keep it in place. Star is about 16 inches in length. Now what I'm going to do is go ahead and stain it with my antique wax. Some green twine from Dollar Tree to wrap the center and keep these dowels or skewers in place. What I'm going to do first is just tie a knot in the center, then add hot glue, and then start wrapping it until I get all the way around. Dollar General tags for this next part. I always see these tags throughout the whole year and they're only $1. I'm going to paint these with some Apple Barrel English Ivory Green. Green color is so pretty. I love the way that turned out. And now I'm going to sand it down just to make it look a little bit rustic looking. And I think it's really pretty once it's all sanded. So I used my Cricut to print out Mary, and I'm going to just spell that out on these tags. I'm going to connect the tags to my star with the same green twine, and I'm going to start off with the center one, which is the R. So once I put it through the hole, I'm just going to wrap it around in the center and tie a knot. I'm going to add a bow to each of the tags. I measured it out for you guys, and the ribbon is about 6.5 inches in length, and I'm going to make it the same way I did earlier.
Chilling and having a good time. Doesn't matter if the snow is falling.
To show y'all, and that way I could take pictures for my thumbnail, but this would look really pretty on top as a tree topper. For my next DIY, I am using this wooden shim. So that's what I'm going to use. You can use whatever you like, maybe a Dollar Tree ruler, a wooden dowel, even a stick outside would look rustic. I'm going to hang this clear snowflake from there. This comes in a 3-pack at Dollar Tree. I'm also going to take 4 red bells from this pack that I showed y'all earlier. I'm going to use the red ribbon and loop it through the snowflake, and that's going to hang from the wooden shim. So you see how I have the bells laid out? That's kind of how I want them to hang too, but I'm going to use some twine for the bells. And I'm just going to add some hot glue up there to hang it. I'm not too worried about the ends of the ribbon showing on top of there because I'm also going to add some greenery and red berries. I'm also adding a little bit of hot glue right here so the snowflake stays in place. And here I'm looping the twine through the bells, and I'll also hot glue this on top so they can hang. So I made knots on all 4 pieces of twine, and that will be the part that I am gluing. So now to decorate the top, I have some red berries from Dollar Tree that I have had probably for a couple years now, and then just some random greenery that I pulled out of my stash. So I think that's pretty good with the greenery and red berries. I'm gonna make a quick bow with 2 pieces of ribbon. So I'm taking one piece and just connecting the ends like this. Once I turn it around, I pinch it in the center and I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it with some pipe cleaner. I'm gonna do the exact same thing with this other piece and just add it to the top right here. So you see how easy that bow was to make since I already had the 2 tails hanging on the snowflake. All I needed to do was make the 2 loops at the top. I have it sitting on one of the racks in my living room. If you want to hang it on the wall with other decor, you can easily do it just the same way they do like macrame wall hanging. Just add twine to each side of the wooden shim and then you can hang it up like that. I'll be using these Dollar Tree hangers. As you can see, it comes in a 7-pack, and we're gonna make a humongous 3-foot snowflake, guys. So I start off with the pattern right here. I'm about to show you. It's really simple. I realized, this is too big to show on this table. So then I'm gonna take you to my kitchen floor so you can really see the whole snowflake. So as you can see, I'm just placing 2 hangers together. I'm doing 4 of these. So there's gonna be 8 to start off. I know you can't see the top part, but you'll see it in just a second and it looks just like the other 2 sets. So this is how it looks. What I'm gonna do is go ahead and tie each set together with my twine. Now, this is where I kind of did mess up because once I was completely done with everything, I didn't want that brown twine to show. So what I ended up doing later on, you'll see in a little bit, is use white pipe cleaners. And of course, since the snowflake or the hangers are white, you couldn't see it. So that is a better choice than to use twine. Once I was done connecting all of those, we're gonna add the last 4 sets. So as you can see, to finish the snowflake off, I am placing the set of hangers this way. Now I'm tying this corner together with twine, but like I said, it would be so much easier with the pipe cleaner. So this is how it looks once all 4 of those sets are on top and tied off. Now what I'm going to do is tie anything that's loose. So all of these corners where the point of the snowflake is at, I'm tying all 4 hangers together right here. Alright, and the last area to tie off is all of the inner corners. And as you can see again, I have 4 hangers that I am wrapping the twine around. To add this Merry Christmas Dollar Tree sign to the center, and this is really easy to connect. I'm just going to connect the C and the S at the ends with pipe cleaner. Bells to the ends right here where I'm showing you with hot glue. And as you can see, I did switch out some of the twine that was visible with the pipe cleaner. If you want to put lights on your snowflake, so I grabbed some fairy lights that I've been having since last year. I placed the battery pack in the center like that because when I hang it on the wall, it's not gonna fall because it'll be leaning on the wall. And then all I'm gonna do is just wrap it around on the outside corners. And yeah, then that would be pretty much it. I just thought it looked so pretty like this. I forgot to mention that I found this really cool idea from Home Hacks on Pinterest. I had never seen something like this before. I thought this was such a neat idea because it's so big. Remember, it's 3 feet long. And also I used Scotch mounting tape to mount it on the wall. Just be careful because I know I've had paint getting ripped off, so that's the only thing. But honestly, I think that's a little bit better than putting actual holes in the wall with nails. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this one. I really like this one. I'm going to show you how to make a really big Christmas tree out of these Walmart giant craft sticks. And I'm also going to be using these gift boxes from Dollar Tree. I'm going to start off by making a triangle with my craft stick. So I place the first two like this, and then I grab whatever image I want. So if you have craft paper, you can use that, or you can pick up these gift boxes from Dollar Tree. So I'm taking the one that I like, and I'm going to place it on top just to kind of see where the bottom craft stick is going to go. And then I use my pencil to see how much I need to trim off. And now I'm going to cut out the flat portion of the gift box, that way I can place it in the back of this part of the tree. And now I'm going to glue the bottom craft stick down. So now that I have it glued together, this is the back side. I'm going to glue the piece of the gift box onto the back. So I just trimmed that part off, and now I'm going to hot glue it right here. Two more, because I'm going to connect all three of these to make a pretty big wooden Christmas tree. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the round bottom parts, so that way it looks more like a tree and it doesn't look like a craft stick. And then we're going to use my Waverly wax to stain these. Of course, you can use whatever color, paint it whatever color you want. If you don't have the wax, you can just use brown paint. A recent viewer told me that they have shoe polish at Dollar Tree that you could use as well. Cut out a red, green, and white stripe part of a gift box to add to the other two. If you decide to make this, you can do all three the same colors if you want. This is how I want them to look, so now I'm just going to hot glue all three of them together. Stick to the bottom, that way I can stick it in some floral foam. You can add anything that you have, a wooden dowel, a wooden ruler from Dollar Tree, or another craft stick. I'm just using something small like this with some floral foam to stick the tree in, because I'm going to be placing it in a bigger basket, and I really don't want to hot glue the floral foam to the inside of this basket because I don't want to mess it up. So once I do this, I'm going to stick it in the basket. I'm going to use some of this red Dollar Tree deco mesh and just add it to the inside of the basket. To the tree was add this Dollar Tree wooden star from the Crafter Square. I'm just going to hot glue it at the top. A couple more trees, but this time I'm going to be doing them a little bit different. So I'm doing a two-tiered one and then a one tier. For these, I am painting them white. My brush is wet, so it's not super white. I grabbed another gift box, but this one has red and white stripes, and I did the same thing as I did the three-tiered tree earlier in the first DIY. And now I'm just gonna glue these two together for the two-tiered one. Now I'm going to be using some Dollar Tree dowels and small palettes. I'm painting the dowels white, and then the two little palettes, they were actually a raw wood color, but I had used them a long time ago for another DIY, so I already had them stained. But what I'm going to do is run over it with a little bit of white paint and sand it down. So I'm using the dowels to connect the tree to the palette. This is how it's going to be set up. That's why I am going to add the dowels to this. So I'm going to add hot glue to the dowel and place it inside of the palettes and then connect it to the tree. I finished with the two-tiered tree, and now this is the one tier. As you can tell, this one has red, white, and green stripes. So I'm going to make a bow for each of them. I've showed y'all guys this a million times, but I will always show y'all again real quickly just in case there's someone that hasn't seen it.
Tomorrow it is Christmas, the first for me and you. I've longed for this moment to have you for myself in a cabin out in nowhere.
For my next DIY, I'm taking a round piece from the 3D Dollar Tree wreath form. The first thing I'm going to do is add some wooden beads to this. So I'm taking my stem cutters and I'm just going back and forth until it clamps through, and then I'm going to add them. These are some Amazon beads that I always show y'all. They have such a good deal. I don't remember how much I paid. It had to be no more than 20 bucks for like 1,000 pieces, which is really good. So I'm using this size and I'm going to just put them on here about 3/4 of the way. Remove the two little pieces that are sticking out right here at the bottom and the top with my stem cutters that I bought at Walmart, and I'm going to hang them from the top of this wreath form. I'm using some black thread to hang it because the other ribbon that was originally on the ornaments wasn't long enough for me to hang them, so I just took them off. So all I'm doing is running the thread through the little hole and then just taking the ends of the thread and then wrapping it on the top of the wreath form and just making a knot. Now I'm going to add hot glue in between the beads where I hung the ornaments. Greenery with red berries that I have had since last year from Hobby Lobby, so I'm going to use that on here. I'm just going to clip off some stems and I will be adding it to the bottom. Before doing that, I'm going to add hot glue to the ends of the beads, and I'll show you that in a second just so they won't be moving around. The easiest way I found to add these stems is adding pipe cleaner around them, and you remember the bottom of the wreath form that I cut with my stem cutters. I'm also wrapping it as well with the stem so that way all of this just stays together and all of it is secure. I'm using these ornaments from Dollar Tree, and they did come in a 2-pack just like this. So what I'm going to start off doing is I'm going to add a dowel to both of them. So I'm going to stick those stars inside of this little wooden drawer from Dollar Tree. It actually comes with this part and a little small drawer that goes inside, but I removed the drawer inside and I used this for a DIY a while back. So it was perfect because it was already black and that's what I wanted. So I just grabbed it and I'm adding this Walmart ribbon. I'm going to go ahead and hot glue it in place, and I'm also going to add some floral foam inside. I have this greenery pick with some red berries, and what I'm going to do is hot glue the red berries to the top right here, and then the rest of the greenery I'm going to stick it in at the top where the dowels are. Start off with this little Dollar Tree gift box. As you can see, it has the red and black buffalo check. It did have a lid, but I removed that and I have used it in a previous DIY. That's why there is floral foam already inside of here. I'm going to leave that in there, and I think I do add a little bit more. So I have a huge Dollar Tree ornament. These are the biggest I've seen at Dollar Tree. Just one by itself is $1. So I'm going to remove that little golden part where you would normally hang it on the tree. And I'm taking a dowel. Well, this one is actually a skewer. It's a really long one. They sell these really large, long skewers at Dollar Tree. I think they have them like 10 for $1. I'm just taking one of them, or you can use a dowel if you have one. I just decided to use this because this is what I had close by. After cutting the skewer down, I added a little bit more floral foam inside, and now I'm just going to stick it in the center. I'm going to add a few small little Dollar Tree ornaments to the bottom to kind of cover up that floral foam. I have a couple of white ones and then some smaller red ones. I'm using 2 of the white ones and 4 of the really small ones. So after gluing all of those smaller ornaments in place, I'm now going to take a little bit of a smaller ornament than this one that is already on the dowel. This is another Dollar Tree ornament. It actually had beads all on it, and I removed them, and I'm actually going to use them in a couple of DIYs in this video. So all I'm going to do is add hot glue on top and add it. You can kind of see the styrofoam peeking through because this one is made from that. So I'm going to try to hide that as best as I can, and then add a little bit of paint to the areas where you see the styrofoam so it won't show so much. I'm going to hot glue 2 more ornaments, and as you can see, I am going down in size as I get to the top, so it does look more like a ornament Christmas tree. The last thing I did was take a buffalo check bow, and I'm going to add it to the top. I'm just going to add it with my hot glue. So I found these last year, and I did see them this year at Walmart. I believe they came in a 4 or 6 pack for a few dollars. Like this one, I think it can be used in so many different ways, from choosing different colored ornaments, depending on your style. You can even use a different base at the bottom. You can also choose a different bow, different colored bow at the top, or even a star at the top. Alright, for my next DIY, everything you see here is from Dollar Tree. I have 2 candles on the side, 2 small little candle holders or jars, and then those small red beads I was telling you about, they were on that styrofoam ornament from the previous DIY I just showed y'all. So what I decided to do was use these small red beads to add to the candle holder. What I'm going to do is start adding hot glue to the rim and start placing the beads there.
I can't wait to hold you. Never were apart.
I also added beads to the bottom as well. So I'm just sticking the candle inside, and the last thing I'm going to do is add another little buffalo check red and black bow, the same ones I found at Walmart. And I'm also going to add a little snowflake to the center. You don't have to do that, or you can add whatever you like. I got the snowflake off of this huge tinsel Dollar Tree ornament. For the other candle holder, I decided to do a black and white buffalo check. So I have this Walmart ribbon from last year, and I'm just going to make a quick bow. You can just... 2 of these large tinsel ornaments. And what I'm going to do to start off is remove the tinsel. So I just cut a piece at the top and then I just start pulling it off. And what I'm going to do is connect both of them with some more pipe cleaner. I thought this would be another fun way to make a large light up ornament. After using pipe cleaner all around the ornament to keep it in place, now I am going to add my fairy lights. I decided to do this instead of using the Dollar Tree lights, which you totally still can if you want to. I just really like using the fairy lights because first of all, this strand is really long. It's about 10 feet long and I got it from Walmart last year for a few dollars. Also, I like that the strand is made out of wire, so I'm able to place it exactly where I want. The little pieces that are sticking out on the sides, those are what was used to hold the tinsel in place. So I'm using those as well to hold the fairy lights in place. Simple. You can go without the bow if you want to really show the top piece to make it look like an ornament even more. I decided to add a bow made out of some fall buffalo check ribbon at Dollar Tree, and I made it the exact same way as I made the one that I put on the front of that candle jar in the previous DIY. I'm using this Dollar Tree sign for my next DIY. What I'm going to do is just turn it around and remove those stickers, and we're going to use the inside of it. I'm going to use my white chalk paint to paint all of the inside first. Use the joy ornament from Dollar Tree on the inside of this frame, but before doing that, I'm using more of those small red beads. All I'm doing is placing a dot on the corners in the inside and then adding the beads. The excess beads with my scissors, and then what I decided to do, since there is a little hole on the top of the joy ornament where the twine was at, I decided to use that to place more of the beads through there from the back, and then I was going to hang them that way. But when I put it through the hole on the top of the sign, like I have it right here, it was crooked. It wasn't hanging right. So I just added glue to the back. I didn't stick it through the little hole on the top of the ornament, and I just hung it this way. Hopefully that makes sense.
We're gonna dance. Okay.
I hot glued the little greenery back onto the little joy sign. Now the last thing I want to do is go ahead and add this red ribbon to the outside of the sign. You can do this with any kind of ribbon that you have, or you can paint it. Thank you so much for watching to the end, and until next time, I will see you in the next video.